So today was the day I was going to unveil the Razer Stream Controller for all of you. Well, I've got some good news and bad news. I didn't receive the Stream Controller in time to actually make this video. But the good news is I've had one for over a year, and if you've been watching this channel, you've already seen it. Now hear me out. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Joe Finley, and today we are sort of going to be looking at the Razer Stream Controller. Now let me explain what I mean, because I'm being really cryptic here. Now we've spent some time in the past having a little giggle about Razer making products that looked very similar to other products that were already on the market. Talking about the Keylight Chroma compared to the Elgato Keylight, talking about the Razer Audio Mixer compared to the Go XLR Mini, and now we have this. This is the Loupedeck. You might remember it from this video. This is the Loupedeck, and this is the Razer Stream Controller. Now it looks identical, right? But there's one important thing to notice. The Razer Stream Controller is not a ripoff of the Loupedeck. It is literally the Loupedeck Live in every way, shape, and form, minus this. They just put Razer branding on it. You won't be using Razer software when you plug in the Razer Stream Controller. You will be using Loupedeck software. So if you already own one of these bad boys, well, congratulations, you're ahead of the curve. So here's the story. Razer and Loupedeck have actually teamed up to rebrand the Loupedeck Live into the Razer Stream Controller. Razer gets the advantage of already existing hardware and software, and Loupedeck gets to brand itself as one of the leading names in peripherals. So the best news of all is, while I don't have the Razer Stream Controller here to show to you and to test and review, it doesn't really matter, because I still really do. So despite the fact that we've reviewed this before, I think it's time for a little bit of a refresher. Across the middle, you have a touchscreen that has haptic feedback. There's just plastic dividers there to separate the quote-unquote buttons. Down the sides of the screen, the two long spots are not actually pressable anyways. That's actually just menu information for the knobs that are on either side. We have the three knobs, as I just said. On either side, you can press them in, or you can turn the dials to the left or the right. And across the bottom, you have 8 other buttons that can open up any other number of menus and things like that. It's an incredibly thin device, which I really like about it. It connects via USB-C and has this teeny tiny plastic stand. I was never really a fan of this. In fact, mine is actually broken just on the edge here. The little bit that kind of hooks onto it doesn't stay on anymore. And I kind of wish that with this re-release, they would have maybe rethought the stand, but they didn't, unfortunately. Loupedeck software, when I did this video a year ago, was actually pretty clunky. You were able to download profiles for other programs and things like that, which was awesome, but navigating the software itself was actually a little problematic. It was messy. It was hard to find where you were going. That has gotten better with updates lately. So let's get a better look at that new software. This is the updated Loupedeck UI. It looks really good. This part looks pretty much the same as it did before. You can see whatever profiles that you bring up and the buttons that are available there. You can edit by clicking on these triple dots here, and then you can create new macros or do anything like that. You can also take anything from the side over here and drag them on top of the buttons. So if you want to look at the different profiles, you can click up here and see all the different available programs that are here. If you have dynamic mode on, what that means is whenever you turn on one of these programs, it's automatically going to switch over to that if that's the program you have selected. So I have multiple windows here. So if I had DaVinci Resolve in one window and then I had Affinity Photo in another, and I was clicking back and forth between them, the Loupedeck itself would actually switch between them. Then from here you can select which one you want if you want to do some editing. So now I brought up the DaVinci Resolve profile, and it's got some automatic stuff here. And to navigate my way through this, I'm going to use the workspace drop down to go into the different menus. The cool thing is these are all automatic, and you can download these from their marketplace, which I'll show you in a second. But the cool thing is you're not limited to whatever kind of profiles they've created for you. If you like a profile, you can keep it, but if there's certain pieces that you don't want, you can get rid of them. You can replace them with other functions. I do that all the time. There's certain little things I just like to have on hand near each other that they were kind of all over the place. So I moved buttons around. I added things that weren't there before just because I like to have them handy. It's really a nice system now. Also down here, you can see a lot of the cool kinds of controls that we actually have available to us now. So you have OBS Studio controls. And when you look down here, if you see the little circle here, that means it is a control for a dial. If you see the little finger pushing the button, well, it's for a button. So we have OBS, Philips Hue, Spotify, Streamlabs, Twitch, and new for the Razer is the Razer Keylight Chroma control. You can expect a lot of updates to this in the future, but this is kind of where we're starting out. This is actually a beta version. If you download the current version, which is 5.2, it's going to look like this and all that, but just kind of the extras come with 5.2.1. This guy, special guy. So to add things to the Loupedeck itself, you can just find yourself a command of choice. Let's say I want to control my Spotify volume. I can I can grab one of the ones for the dials, I can literally drag it on top of the button, and now that has become a volume. So now just by turning the dial, I can turn Spotify's volume up and down. Desktop controls, you have all sorts of different options here. But when it really comes down to it too, you can literally just open this up and create a macro and literally create any shortcut that you want right here. So an example that I use is they didn't have a proper export button for Affinity Photo in their profile. So what I did is I came in here, created the macro, which is actually Control-Shift-Alt-S. And there you go. Created my little shortcut. Call it what I want. In this case, it'd be export. And save it. Now, if we want to have a look at the marketplace, we can just have a look right here, and you can see all the different things that you have available to you right away. So you can actually do your searches right here, but you also have all these different profiles, plugins, icon packs, sound packs. Hardly any of this stuff was available when I reviewed it the first time. You can really quickly go through and see all the different programs that you can use. Even free programs like GIMP you can get a profile for, Excel, all sorts of things. This is not just for stream controlling per se, although it's a very good stream controller. You can also use it for all productivity. I use it a lot for editing, photo editing, and things like that, but it's also another tool that I use in my streams because it gives me a lot more flexibility having multiple panels on here. Looking at plugins, you have things like Go XLR, Elgato Lighting Control. You can even set up a Microsoft Flight Simulator panel, which I actually am going to set up because on my stream I'm going to do the occasional flight simulator thing just for kicks. And then different icon packs, so you can have different customized buttons depending on what program or just what kind of look you want. They have things from Owned, which is really nice. They have a lot of good looking things on there. So definitely go through here and check out what kind of an aesthetic you want to have. And then even a bunch of sound packs that you can add to this thing, so you can turn this into a soundboard as well. You can see they're getting ready for things like emotes and badges and stream overlays. They're building this software to become really serious competitors in the streaming space. The Razer Stream Controller comes out this fall. It's going to be $269.99 US. For people who are going to ask the question, that is the exact price of the Loupedeck Live, so they're not jacking up the price just because they're throwing the Razer label on it. It is a worthy device. And again, this is the very first thing I ever reviewed, both for cgmagonline.com and for this channel. Now, the fact that it's still plugged in after a whole year should tell you a little something about the device. It is good. It is worth it. Now, there's still a lot of questions that I have up in the air. Like, why didn't they slightly change some of the design of this thing just to kind of make it their own, more of a Razer thing? The stand was always a big weak point. Why didn't they jump on making that a better thing? Why is Loupedeck making a different version of the Loupedeck Live? Was that so they could maintain their reputation as more of an editor controller and create a separation between their company and their partnership? Who's to say? But this is huge news for big Razer fans who want to have Razer products kind of across the board. You have a new thing coming, and I think it's good news just kind of across the board because it's a good device that I don't think gets a ton of attention because of things like the Stream Deck. So this is going to kind of reintroduce the hardware back into the space. Now, if you want to look back and compare what it was like when I reviewed it the first time, plus see how far I've come as far as making videos and stuff, you can go watch my original video. And until next time, gang, let's get to work.